Do you ever feel trapped, like you're swimming in circles but going absolutely nowhere? Well, that's life for a goldfish in a tiny bowl, and it's way worse than you think. Here's the thing, goldfish are way smarter than we give them credit for. You've probably heard that old myth about goldfish having a 3-second memory. Turns out, that's completely wrong. These little guys can remember things for months. They can recognize faces, learn tricks, and even have unique personalities. So what's the problem? Well, imagine being stuck in a glass prison where your only entertainment is staring at the same fake castle every single day. That's not just boring, it's downright cruel. Let's break this down. A tiny bowl isn't just an aesthetic choice, it's a death sentence. Goldfish are supposed to grow up to 12 inches long and live for 10 to 15 years, sometimes even longer. But in those cute little bowls we see in movies and pet stores, most goldfish don't make it past a few months. Why? It's all about space, water quality, and, well, stress. So, what exactly is wrong with a tiny bowl? First, let's talk about water. Goldfish are messy creatures. They produce a lot of waste, and in a small bowl, that waste builds up quickly, turning the water toxic. It's like trying to breathe in a room where the air gets more polluted every time you exhale. No matter how often you change the water, it's nearly impossible to keep it clean enough. And then there's the oxygen issue. A tiny bowl doesn't have enough surface area for proper oxygen exchange, so the water becomes a suffocating trap. And then there's the matter of space. Goldfish are active swimmers. They need room to explore, stretch their fins, and, well, just be fish. In the wild, goldfish live in large ponds or slow-moving rivers where they have endless space to roam. A bowl? It's the equivalent of sticking a marathon runner in a closet and expecting them to thrive. Here's where it gets wild. Goldfish don't just stop growing because their bowl is small. Their growth slows, but their internal organs keep developing. This leads to stunted growth and a host of health problems. Imagine trying to squeeze into a pair of shoes you outgrew years ago. Uncomfortable, right? Now, imagine living like that 24/7. But why do we keep doing this? Honestly, convenience. Bowls are cheap, small, and easy to fit on a desk or a shelf. They're also part of this weird cultural image we've built around goldfish. Think about it. When you picture a goldfish, you probably imagine it in a little round bowl, right? But that's like imagining a person living their whole life in a broom closet. Sure, it's possible, but is it really living? Now, here's a fun fact to blow your mind. Goldfish can get depressed. Yep, you heard that right. Scientists have studied their behavior and found that when goldfish are kept in small, barren environments, they start to act lethargic. They stop exploring, they stop playing, and they just exist. Sound familiar? It's like the aquatic version of being stuck in a dead-end job or a toxic relationship. And honestly, who can't relate to that? Let's talk myths. One of the biggest lies we've been told is that goldfish have short memories. The truth? Goldfish have incredible recall. They can remember things for months, recognize their owners, and even learn tricks. But in a tiny bowl, their intelligence goes to waste. It's like handing someone a library card and then locking them in a room with no books. Here's another myth. Goldfish only grow as big as their environment allows. While it's true that their growth is influenced by their environment, it's not a healthy process. Stunted growth isn't natural or good. It's a sign of stress and poor living conditions. And the worst part, most people don't even realize it's happening. They just see a little fish swimming around and think, oh, how cute. But what if the tiny bowl isn't just bad? What if it's downright dangerous? Goldfish are incredibly hardy creatures. They can survive in less than ideal conditions, but survival isn't the same as thriving. In a small bowl, goldfish face constant stress. Their immune systems weaken, making them more susceptible to diseases. And let's not forget the risk of overheating. Bowls are small, which means the water temperature can fluctuate wildly. For a creature as sensitive as a goldfish, that's a recipe for disaster. So, what's the solution? It's actually pretty simple. Give goldfish the space and care they deserve. A proper tank with a filter, plenty of space, and some decorations to keep things interesting can make all the difference. Goldfish are social animals too, so they thrive when they have companions. And here's the best part. Watching a happy, healthy goldfish is way more rewarding than watching one slowly deteriorate in a bowl. But let's zoom out for a second. Why do we do this to goldfish? Why do we put them in bowls that are too small, feed them too little, and then act surprised when they don't live long? Is it ignorance? Laziness? Or is it something deeper, like the way we're conditioned to see animals as accessories instead of living beings? And here's a wild twist. Some people argue that goldfish in tiny bowls are a metaphor for modern life. Think about it. We're constantly told to be happy with less, to fit into tiny boxes, and to make do with limited resources. We're surrounded by glass walls, staring out at a world we can't reach. It's almost poetic, in a tragic kind of way. But it doesn't have to be this way, for goldfish or for us. With just a little effort, we can give goldfish a better life. And maybe, in the process, we'll learn something about improving our own lives. A bigger tank for a goldfish could be a bigger mindset for us. More space, more freedom, more growth. Here's a crazy idea. What if goldfish are trying to tell us something? Maybe their little lives in those tiny bowls are a mirror for our own struggles. They remind us to ask tough questions. Am I growing? Am I exploring? Am I truly living, or just going in circles? And here's where I leave you with a thought. If you wouldn't live your life trapped in a tiny bowl, why let a goldfish live that way? Let's break the cycle for them and for us. So what do you think? Are we all just goldfish in tiny bowls, waiting for someone to set us free? Or is it time to smash the glass and make some waves? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button if you've ever felt like a goldfish just trying to survive. Let's dive even deeper into the story of the goldfish, because there's so much more to unpack. Did you know that goldfish are descendants of wild carp? In their natural habitats, these fish are part of complex ecosystems. They play a role in maintaining the balance of their environment, coexisting with other species, and adapting to the ever-changing flow of rivers and lakes. But in a bowl, they're stripped of all that. They're reduced to ornamental status, their natural instincts dulled by confinement. Imagine being a creature designed to roam vast waters, reduced to swimming in endless circles. It's not just a physical limitation, it's psychological torture. Studies have shown that fish experience stress and pain in ways similar to mammals. When their needs aren't met, their bodies produce cortisol, the stress hormone. Over time, this can lead to chronic health issues, just like in humans. And speaking of stress, let's talk about how goldfish are often acquired. They're the impulse buys of the pet world. How many times have you seen goldfish given away as prizes at carnivals, tossed into plastic bags and handed to kids who have no idea how to care for them? It's a setup for failure. These fish are treated as disposable, their lives considered insignificant because they cost just a few dollars. But here's the kicker. Goldfish aren't low-maintenance pets. Caring for them properly requires time, effort, and investment. A good setup includes a tank that's at least 20 gallons for a single fish, a filtration system, regular water changes, and a balanced diet. It's not rocket science, but it does require commitment, something that's often overlooked in the rush to own a cute pet. Now, let's get philosophical for a moment. What does our treatment of goldfish say about us as a society? Is it a reflection of how we value convenience over compassion? How we prioritize aesthetics over ethics? And if we're willing to subject another living being to a life of confinement for our own fleeting enjoyment, what does that say about our capacity for empathy? As you ponder these questions, consider this. Change starts with awareness. By educating ourselves and others about the realities of goldfish care, we can shift the narrative. We can move away from the outdated image of the lonely goldfish in a bowl and toward a future where these creatures are given the respect and care they deserve. So, the next time you see a goldfish swimming in a tiny bowl, don't just walk by. Think about its story. Think about its potential. And think about what you can do to make a difference, not just for that one fish, but for all the goldfish out there, trapped in their own tiny prisons. What's your next move? Will you be the one to break the glass?